Now, I first met Dawn almost 2 years ago, right? During one of the influencer event. And at that time, I was very shocked to be able to see her because I've been actually reading her blogs for the longest time, right? If you don't know SG Budget Bay, it's really about personal finance. She write a lot about her investing journey, her personal finance tip, her insights over there. So if you have not read it, make sure just go for SG Budget Bank. You will see so many articles, so many insights. And in fact, she has been featured constantly on newspaper, on different stations to share her own personal finance journey. And on top of that, right, she has also, right, in the past 10 years time, keep on investing and building up $1 million portfolio. Now, how many of you think that it's pretty impressive that you are able to achieve 1 million in 10 years time? If you think it's pretty impressive, can you type 1M in the chat, right? Not to mention that for Dawn, right, her background is very different, right? Because she was actually same as me, right? From a like journalism background, right? We both study mass communication. I only got to know that when we met finally for the first time. And she is already married with 2 kids. So I was very amazed, like, wow, how are you able to juggle so many things at the same time? No, working as a mom, at the same time, you still have your full-time job and you still do your personal finance content creation. And yet at the same time, you being yourself an investor. And in case you're wondering what kind of stocks they don't invest, or is she currently investing, later on I can ask her a little bit more about it. But you can see that while so many people actually lose money in Alibaba, right, she was one of the few that actually made money, right, pretty substantial amount, like 50% up, buying Alibaba. And on top of that, right, she also invests not just in Hong Kong, not just in SG. For SG, she invests for a lot of dividend. So she has a lot of passive income through dividends as well. And she also invests in the US market for growth. And you can see many of the stocks that she invested in the US market has gone up 100% to even 1,000 over percent for Palantir. How many of you think that this is pretty impressive? If you think so, can you type I in the chat? Right? So these are some of the strategies and the insights that she'll be sharing with you. Exactly how can you become better investor? How can you pick stocks that is able to really do well in the long run? So that's why I can't wait to welcome her officially. So how many of you are ready to learn from Dawn? If you're ready, can you type Dawn in the chat? Okay, Dawn is her name. Budget Bait SG is her brand name. Okay, so call her Dawn, and she is super amazing. Awesome. I can see so many of you are ready. So without further ado, thank you so much, Dawn, for being here and spending time together with us tonight.
No problem. Thanks for having me. I'm surprised a lot of people actually didn't follow my blog, but I guess that's also good because it means I should work harder.
That means you will have new readers. That means you will have new readers from now on.
Thank you, thank you. For those of you who don't know me, I've actually been doing this for over 10 years. I started out because when I was younger, my childhood dream was to become an author. And then Chloe and I, we went to the same school, but we never saw each other in school, surprisingly. So
Yeah.
yeah, I went into the comm school because I really thought like my future was being a writer. But end up then I realized in Singapore to be a writer, you don't really earn a lot of money. So we survive, right? So I ended up joining another industry for work, but then I always wanted to write. So I started writing a blog because I was bored at work, and I honestly never expected that to take off. Over the years, as people move from text to video, I've also adapted. So I started my Instagram slightly before COVID, and now I'm very active. I post daily on Instagram. So if you guys want to like get to know my market insights, I talk about the markets very often on my Instagram and on financial news. So I update there every day, and I also have like Instagram reels and posts going out. But yeah, but I'm not as amazing as Chloe as well. I think what was very interesting to me was that like we apparently were from not only the same school, but we also started
Yeah.
investing around the same time. And we
Almost same time, about 10
yeah,
years. Yeah. So I
correct,
was like, oh
correct.
my
And just a
gosh.
couple of months away from each other. And then we were also doing two completely different ways of investing, but we both got to the $1 million mark last year at the same
Yes.
time. I think like that's just incredible. I mean, I believe very strongly in fate, so I really think like wow, eventually I'm just so amazed that our paths cross like that, and I'm so excited to be speaking to your you and your audiences today.
Thank you. Thank you. I think we are all super excited to learn from you. And just like what Dawn said, we kind of started about 10 years ago, right? And for Dawn, like she built up her $1 million in 10 years time. But I'm very sure it's not a smooth sailing journey, right? Because for myself, it wasn't smooth at all. So I want to ask a little bit more about your journey, right? Can you take us back in time at the beginning, right? What made you get started in this journey? And when you first started, what are some of the key moments that shaped you into the investor you are today?
Okay, so I mean I went viral with my very first blog post unexpectedly, and after like several weeks, it wasn't like an overnight thing either. So when my blog post went viral, you get a lot of readers, and that viral blog post was titled "How I Saved $20,000 in a Year." Okay.
Mm,
After that, I was getting a lot of readers who were commenting on that post, and they were saying things like, "Oh, if you have that much money, right, make sure you don't keep it in the bank. You should be investing it." And I kept
mm.
seeing that kind of comments. So I was like, oh, what is investing? And the only
Oh,
investment I knew at that point was through my insurance agent who sold me a ILP, an investment linked plan. Okay, and so I
yeah.
honestly, and he sold it in a way whereby he's the expert. I just need to trust in him and the insurer and then just pay the premiums every month and they will invest for me lah. Right. So I always thought like I'm not good enough. I don't know how. But because I kept seeing that comment, I was like, actually, in life, if we really want to learn something, I don't believe that we cannot learn it. So I went to
Mm,
go down the rabbit hole. I went to read up what exactly is investing. I devoured a lot of books. And then I realized that I actually quite enjoy like this whole process of understanding what companies do, how they make money, and then buy into their stocks as investments. And I really just like as I was sharing my knowledge on the blog, then people also appreciated because they were like learning alongside me, right? So I was using my blog as
mm.
like a notebook for my own learning points at that point in time, and people
Wow.
did it. Yeah, so that started my investing journey. And then after that, I got one key milestone that shaped my investing journey, as you say, was
Mm,
actually my very first investment, which is I
mm.
bought SingPost. Okay,
Okay.
Singapore Post. And that was because when I went to open my brokerage, I got to know a broker. Okay, it's a local brokerage with a local bank. I won't name which. And my broker was basically like, very, very he's a very good salesperson. Let's just say that. And he was telling me about how like a lot of his clients are now buying Singapore Post. Because at that time also the CEO was going around doing a lot of media interviews and talking about the future of SingPost, the e-commerce
Okay.
and everything. If you remember that period, okay, and
Okay.
I was like, oh wow, looks like, I mean, if you're new to investing, you don't know what you don't know. So when someone tells you that it's good, you're like, oh, maybe it's really good. I go and check it out. And ultimately, in the end, he was pushing me very hard to buy. The
Mm,
ultimate line that he used, which pushed me into action, right, was he said, I told my parents to buy. Do you think I will harm my own parents? Then
mm.
I still remember he said, my parents bought at $2.10. Now it's $2. You are getting, in fact, cheaper than my parents. You listen to me, I'm the professional. I know better than you. You're a newbie, you don't know anything. Trust me. I won't harm my own parents. You're getting it cheaper than my parents now. So because of that, I actually bought in. Okay. And then well, you all just need to pull up the SingPost price now, you will know lah. Okay. Actually, I very long never do. Let me pull out also. So SingPost share price now. Okay.
Maybe
Oh,
you can share screen. I never looked at
58
investing in
cents.
this stock before.
58 cents. So how much have I bought?
Wow.
Let's calculate lah. I think and some more that one is the expensive brokerage because back then don't have like the low cost.
Yes. Back then the fees are so expensive.
Yeah. Okay, let me just presume like that. Let's just assume no fees. Okay, so $2 minus 58 cents. Okay, which is how much? Wait, my calculator. $2 minus 0.58.
$1 and 42 cents
140 divide by $2. What is my loss? Oh my gosh, I lost over 70%.
for 10 years.
It's crazy. And it's all because I trusted my broker. So that lesson, okay, then later on when the Singapore saga blew up, I'm not talking about last year's one. I'm talking about
Mm,
even before that, okay? So when the stock price kept crashing and I realized like I was losing money, I looked back and I was like, what did I do wrong? How can I do better? And I realized a very important lesson. Just
mm,
because the professionals tell us that we should trust them or that they know better, does not mean they truly know better. And you know
mm.
what's the best? But I can't even blame him for my losses, right?
Yeah.
Because I
Yeah.
was
It's
the one
your
who decided.
decision. Yeah.
Yeah. So I was like, okay, screw this. I no longer believe and I'm not going to trust my brokerage or broker anymore. I'm just going to rely on myself. So I really set up my mind to let me learn how to invest better. Then I actually spent money on going for courses And I felt that the most valuable part, now there were some courses which I felt was very iffy, and there were some not bad courses. Okay. And over the years, then I decided to build my own course because I have my own view and standard of how I think investing
Your
should.
own experience and all this, yeah.
Yeah, correct. But I remember when I was learning that on that journey, the most valuable part of a course to me was being able to ask the trainers. So I get to ask them, right? And I like to understand what are some mistakes they made so I can avoid that mistake. Like my mistake, I tell you now, don't just trust the brokerages or whatever they recommend you to buy. Okay. So when I learn from them, then they tell me about like their 10K mistake, 100K mistake. So I learn early on to avoid certain things. Yeah, so that was my journey. That's one key milestone. And over the years, I just kept learning, kept improving, and that got me to where I am today. I still think that it is still a lifelong journey. Yeah, there's a lot of things
Yes,
that
it is. We are still learning and improving every single day. And
yeah.
I'm very sure that like your experience doesn't just speak for yourself. I'm pretty sure over here there are people who probably experience similar things as you did. How many of you have similar experience as Don, that maybe your broker or your bankers tell you to buy certain things but actually end up to be losing money? If you experienced similar things before, can you type S in the chat? Okay, S stands for similarity. And I think true story, okay, Cindy, okay, Marcus as well, right? And I'm so glad that you guys, despite the fact that you suffered losses, you are still here, right? You're still here to learn, to keep growing. And Dawn's journey just don't share with us and never give up, right? And really keep on finding ways that truly works for you. So for herself, is she believed in she can learn it, and that's why she went to learn, went to read a lot of books, do a lot of research, attend different programs to eventually build out her own system. Yeah, indeed, right? Trust yourself, right? Trust yourself and keep on learning in this journey. Now, so right now, can you share about what exactly is your investing strategy, since you have condensed your 10 years of experience from mistakes to winnings and all this, and some of your stocks do very well, right? For example, like 100% to even 1,000% for Palantir. So what is your strategy?
I have to also caveat, I do have some losses. I think everybody will. But if you understand how investing works, right, you just need a few okay, let's say if and I don't use leverage. Let's say we have 10 stocks. Okay. And let's just presume that very sway, COVID or black swan event, things that we cannot control. Let's say 2 stocks go to 0. So I lose 200% out of the 1,000. Okay. But then let's say then the middle part of a few of them, let's say gain 30, 40%. Okay. Then after that, the next few maybe gain like 100%. Okay. And then I have like just 1 or 2 multi-baggers, which is like the ones that you saw earlier. Times 3 times 10. Okay. You realize when you add all of that up and you average again, so what if you lost that 2 all the way? It doesn't matter in the long run because your overall is still up by so much more and it's still better than if you leave it into the bank. So that is my philosophy. And I keep trying. Every time I look at investing, I'm trying to find the next multi-bagger. I may not always get it right because we can invest and find the right companies, but if management screws up, then we have to quickly adapt and move on to the next one. But I would say my overall approach is what I call value growth investing. So I look for companies that are either fairly valued or hopefully undervalued and still have growth prospects. So I'm not interested in the very big companies where their growth will be very, very slow. And everyone already knows that they are great. So the price is always fairly valued or overvalued. For those kind of companies, I prefer not to touch. I rather look for those that are doing good, but they don't get a lot of an analyst coverage. They're not recommended. They're not viral on social media. Right. So I think like one of the ones that I actually more than doubled my money in is a maker of credit card components, which has very, very little analyst coverage because its beginning was very bad. Yeah, but when I look into it, I realized like it's actually quite good one. Right. So there are these smaller unheard of gems. Okay. And then there are also, but I don't go for the ones that are too small because the odds of them collapsing also when the recession hits
Also higher.
yeah, so I will go for those that are at least a decent size. And then there are also the big giants such as Meta. So if you remember, Meta, right? I only got into Meta because I saw that it had strong growth and it was fairly valued, then it became undervalued. Okay, so I bought into Meta. And I think earlier on, if you remember that slide, my Meta average price is 291, right? But the truth is, I have bought Meta at various prices. So that is the average. I have higher, I have lower. Okay. And for Meta, right? During the period where everyone thought Zuckerberg had gone crazy because he was spending so much on the metaverse, and everyone was saying like Mark Zuckerberg had lost his magic touch. Okay. Facebook is going down. No one is using Instagram anymore. Everyone's into TikTok. ByteDance is going to be their competitor. Okay. I was actually counting and calculating, analyzing Meta, and I actually told my community that, hey, Meta is like crazy cheap right now. There are risks, but the numbers just make sense. So I averaged down when everyone thought that Meta was doing very badly. I think if you look at the chart, that was the period of like the 2022, 2023. I actually bought quite a bit. Of course, I bought before that also, right? So you can see it's when Meta was more expensive. But as it went down, I actually bought even more and I averaged down my share price, right? And now, like, because I did that, now everyone's like, wow, Meta is great. One of the best performing stock of 2023 or 2024, right? But I'm like, I stopped buying that year already because it's starting to be fairly valued. Yeah. So my lowest range, I think, is like almost 5x returns. But if you look at 291 to 600 plus, it's like almost 2 times because you must remember that averaging at work. Yeah. So that's my philosophy. Value growth investing. The company must grow and must be either fairly valued or hopefully undervalued.
Wow, can everybody type VGI in the chat? Okay, VGI stands for value growth investing, right? So you want to look for a company that has growth potential, right? Because if you are still young, right, especially for example, Don and I, we are in our early 30s, we know that we still have a long runway ahead of us. So what we are looking for is more for portfolio growth rather than just passive income. I know Dawn, she also built up her dividend portfolio as well, right? She has her own dividend program teaching people how to do that. But what's the percentage balancing between dividend stocks versus value growth stock? What's your percentage allocation?
A lot of my dividend stocks, right, in the beginning was okay. So for dividends, I only buy Singapore stocks. And that was in the early part of my investing journey, which was like 2014 to 2018. So I built up a lot then, but over the years, I will still go in. So I still buy SGX stocks when it's down or when I see the opportunity. So I will add on to that position. But I would think in terms of the overall percentage, so if you just look at my overall Singapore portfolio, which is largely dividend focused, okay, that is about 20-something% right now. And I do that because like in the beginning, I was like everyone else, I think when we start investing, we are very drawn to the
home ground.
yeah, right. So we were like home ground, passive income. So I went into that. Then I realized that, hey, but actually, if you really look at growth, right, and the value, the US markets are great because of the liquidity. Companies are international. Then I started looking into China and I realized like, oh my gosh, Chinese companies are crazy. Like there is no, like when I was in China, I saw everyone using like Meituan, Alibaba and all. I'm like, oh my gosh, are these companies listed? And then like I go back and I was like, oh, it is. And then I analyze and I look at it and I bought the stocks law. Yeah, so dividends is about 20-something%, and I would say majority, that's about like almost 3/4 of my portfolio is value growth, but I don't like deliberately segregate or limit myself. At the end of the day, my investment decision is just at the point when I enter, is the company either undervalued or fairly valued with strong growth prospects.
I see. How many of you are learning something from Dawn about portfolio allocation, about investing in something that you firstly experience? I think she experienced as a user first, and then after that she went to do more research, right? And then after that she also went to find the valuation, the price, whether is this the right price to buy, because you don't want to buy something that's very expensive and end up when the market tank, that's when you suffer, right? I believe a lot of people, a lot of investors suffer losses because they bought a good company too expensive, right? However, if you're able to buy a good company really at a good price, right, fair value, or if not undervalued, that's when your margin of safety becomes so huge. And that's when your potential of making money becomes so much bigger and faster as well, right? So I believe all of you guys are getting it. Now, my next question is, right, then because I think when it comes to investing, many people face a struggle of emotional control, right? Especially, for example, when they see the stock price, for example, tanking like from here, 400, all the way drop to like $80, right? Wow, that kind of drop, it's crazy, right? Almost 70%, right? Minus 70%, the kind of the drop. Do you control your emotion? how do you stay calm and have the confidence to keep investing during this period of time?
Experience. You become desensitized over the years with experience. But I can relate. I mean, okay, so I give example, right? When I made my in the mid 2010s, okay, I actually when I lost money on Singpost, I was so angry with myself. And then after that, I went into a oil company as well because that was the oil crisis, if you remember. Okay, so I entered an oil company in Singapore and I thought like, hey, I go to the harbor and the port. This oil company so big, won't collapse one. Quite a safe investment. So I bought. And when I lost at one point, I remember the paper loss was like 7K Sing. And to me, it was a lot, because you must remember that happened at a time when I was only earning 2K take-home pay. So
Wow.
7K is like more than, it's 3 to 4 months of my work.
Yes.
And I remember
Yes.
telling my boyfriend then, who is now my husband, I was telling him, I was like, I effectively worked for nothing the last 4 months because I lost this money. And oh my gosh, the 7,000 can be used to go to like so many countries for a holiday. What have I done? And
Mm,
it's very normal because humans are very emotional, right? But as you then realize and you continue to stay invested, okay, and then I realized that the ones that I actually took I sold because I panicked, right, and I had emotions, I really like made that paper loss valid. But the ones
mm,
that I didn't, I was just like, hey, yeah, never mind lah. I mean, I also don't need the money for now. I think it will not be this bad. And then I analyze and I look into it. I think I can wait for it to turn around. And then
mm.
it goes back up. Then that $7,000, by the way, on that oil company, I never lost it in the end.
It
Whatever
turned around.
emotions I felt at that point, right, in the end was mood. And why? Because like, I mean, I had to write for quite some time before it recovered lah. But it really taught me a lot to see that the losses that we think we incur may not always be true. So at the same time, when you keep going through this cycle and you really see it happen, when it first happens and you haven't seen the positive yet, you will definitely be emotional. It's very normal. But over time, you keep doing and you realize that the negative in the end still become positive, provided you did it right, right? Then you realize
Mm,
that you really don't have to worry about it being negative at all. It's just a matter of time when it recovers. Important thing is it must recover lah. So you must make sure you're invested in the right things. So when
mm,
Meta actually crashed, of course it was very painful for me. But I knew that Meta could not possibly remain this cheap for so long. It's just
mm,
impossible. And even in the worst case scenario, if it goes private, I know that I will make a certain percentage of money already back. So I was just like, I can afford to wait because I really don't need that money. Yeah. So you
mm,
start to become desensitized. And that's really the way to deal with like losses, which is why I always tell people like if you're very scared and you're new to it, right? I always advise my audiences or when I go for conferences that people ask me how to invest, I say like you cannot paper trade. Because
mm.
like your paper trade, your emotions are not real.
Totally different. Yeah.
Yeah, you are just like up or down. It's just paper, it's not yours. But when you have
Mm,
your real money, that's different thing. So I'll tell them like maybe if you want to really learn, because the most important thing in investing is your skills and your emotional management. Okay, you can
mm,
learn the skills by paper trading, but you cannot do emotional management unless you use real money. So I would say like, why don't you maybe think of how much can you lose? How much would you pay to learn about yourself? Maybe say $1,000 or $500. Okay, now split this up into let's say 5 or 10 and buy your favorite stocks or stocks that you think are good. Okay, then watch how you react in the next say 1 to 2 years. Okay, as you
mm,
realize, learn that about yourself. You're like, oh my god, I cannot sleep, it's down, Then you're like, maybe then you either need to increase your skill on that stock or not be in stocks that are so volatile or
mm,
rethink your approach. And then as you learn, you get better, then you slowly increase your amount. Yeah, I think the problem is, especially we saw this during COVID, a lot of people started investing for the first time and they were
mm,
throwing like 4 digits, 5 digits into things like GameStop, crypto, AMC, all this meme stuff or Tesla, Alibaba, because they saw it trending on social media, right? Then they
mm,
promo. So they throw in, they're new, right? But they throw in a big amount of money. Okay. And then
mm,
when they lose it, they get very emo and it's very normal. But because they played too big and they didn't
mm,
understand that about themselves first. So they also don't know how to turn it around. Lor. So like people who invested in, let's say, Alibaba, because that period during COVID, a lot of people are talking about it on YouTube, right? And on TikTok. Then
yeah.
question is always like when these people started to disappear. Because at first they keep saying, well, Alibaba is falling. Buy, still very good. But Alibaba fell for very long. Then, their YouTube videos don't do well also, right? So they stop talking about it already. And then they get a lot of hate on those videos because people say like, you bluff, I still lost money. It's all your fault. Then they also emotionally, they cannot take it. Their mental health suffers. So all these Alibaba bulls, right, just slowly disappeared as time went on. So it's like, for you, then what are you going to do? You need to wait for the next Alibaba bull to come and convince you, is it? No, you need to know yourself, right? So all these people who are relying on all these people online, they never go and average down. So when Alibaba went up, and actually I told my community last year, when Alibaba was at about 70 something cent, I said I doubled down. Hey, a lot of people were like, they call me sell. It's okay. Because now why? I made the money, they didn't, right? And then like all the people who I just ignore the people who were very negative when I said that, because I don't care. Like I don't need your validation. I know what I'm doing. Okay. And then later on, when Alibaba started rising because of the DeepSeek thing, right? Then a lot of people are like, hey Dawn, how are you in the green? But a lot of us are in the red. And then my question back to them was, then when Alibaba fell, why you never buy more? And they said, I got scared. I say, why were you scared? They say, don't know, lose money, oh. That's it. But it was very clear, and I shared this in my community. If you had actually bothered to look and study Alibaba and its numbers at that point, it was very clear that Alibaba was undervalued, and that was actually a good time to buy in. It's whether you brought yourself to. So did you even do the work? And they say no. Then I asked you, then why do you buy Alibaba? I saw it on YouTube. Oh, then okay lah. Then you never see Alibaba on YouTube because these YouTubers stop already, right? So cannot rely on other people. Must only rely on ourselves, learn the skills and the emotional management.
How many of you agree that it's important to be independent? If you agree, can type I in the chat, right? And you can see, right, I think like Dawn is really the embodiment of being financially independent, right? Doing her own research, doing her homework, and picking stocks that when most people don't even look at it or hate about them, actually she will see, could this be potentially a good opportunity, right? And she's very independent in her own thinking. She go against the crowd, and she also go against the sentiment of the market, and she buy in when the price drop, right? And that's how she's able to really profit tremendously when the market start to realize that, oh wow, it's like too many people oversold, it doesn't make sense, and then started people buying, and that's how the price goes up as well, right? Yeah, so that's the most underrated trade, right? And if you don't know about this, you have zero chance. Very, very well said, Yahoo, right? So I'm also very curious about your views on ETFs, right? Because even the greatest investor, Buffett, he said, for most retail investors, just go with index fund, very low cost, and invest for the long run. What's your take on this?
I think ETFs are a great tool. And I recommend, if you guys, if you haven't already read this book called The Little Book of Common Sense Investing, which is written by Jack Bogle, the one who basically created Vanguard and popularized index and ETF investing. You really should. It's such a great read. It really influenced me a lot. And I think I actually do talk about ETFs very often to my audience. Okay. And then I explain to them, because ETFs, right, being a basket of stocks, you're very safe. Like, you look at, Chloe, you should pull out the chart now of STI index.
Okay. Index stock. Oops. Okay. Sorry. STI index stock. This one. There you
Look
go.
at click on
You want
all.
how long?
Click on all. ALL.
Oh, okay.
Guys, look at that. Like, as long as you believe in Singapore, okay, not even a Singapore stock, just in Singapore, okay, and the strength of our companies as investing, it's hitting all-time high now. You don't even need to analyze a lot, because with ETFs it's so much simpler, right? You just look at what are the top holdings, you aga know already, and then you actually look at whether or not you the expense ratio, etc. So the analysis for ETFs are so much easier. You don't even need to monitor much, because the ETF will automatically kick out the lousy ones, replace with a good one, right?
Yep.
So STI, for example, it has been doing so well, and even in the US, if you struggle to identify and analyze stocks that's like the S&P 500, which is so easy for a lot of people as well. Then in China, there is like the Hang Seng Index. If you believe in whatever your theme, right? Whether it's a country or it's all world ETF or it's like thematic like healthcare ETF or AI ETF or Gen Z ETF. It's just so easy to analyze them because you just need to do very minimal stuff. Right. So I think ETFs are honestly a great tool. For myself, I only use ETFs for my SRS account because I'm all about I like to find and I actually invest the time into looking for multi-bagger stocks, and they have done fabulously well for me. It has beaten all the ETF results for me in the last 10 to 11 years. So that's my own approach. But I recognize that not everyone is as passionate as I am or would go as in depth. So I usually when I teach investing classes and my readers ask me, okay, if they tell me that they don't have a lot of time and stuff, I always teach a very triangle foundational approach, which is your foundation should be ETFs, because it's very unlikely that you will go wrong. You're basically like just buying into the future. And if you believe that the future world, the future economy will be better than what it is now, which it will because of inflation as well, right? It's a very safe and strong foundation. Then on top of that, okay, on top of the triangle, you can then layer the individual stock picks for your multi-baggers and volatility. Yeah, but you're always very safe because as long as you DCA in your ETFs or build your foundation right, it's very hard to go wrong or lose money in the long run.
Yeah. I want to ask how many of you here are actually passionate individual stock pickers, that you actually want to use individual stocks to speed up your return. If you are passionate about stocks, can you type S in the chat? How many of you are like Dawn? Oh, Jia Hong,
Not bad,
Cindy.
got quite a few.
Yeah. So I'm also very curious, right? Like, Dawn, how much time do you actually spend on, analyzing companies?
It depends on the opportunity. So over the years, I've gotten faster. I remember right, when I first started in the early 2010s, to read and comb through just one annual report, and don't even talk about other research, just the annual report itself, right, took me like 20 hours. And it was so difficult. It was so new to me and so technical, and I took very long to find things. Then as I kept doing it, now I can digest an annual report in like less than 1 hour. You just get better. It's mastery, right? The more you do it, the better and faster you get. And then of course, like even the research, right? Last time it took a long time, but today, thanks to AI, I
Yeah.
made it so much faster. Yeah, so I would say how much time really depends. So I give you an example. This month was really tough for me in March because if you remember in the earlier part of March, the market started crashing because of tariffs, right? So suddenly a lot of great stocks were all going on sale at the same time. Very hard. It's like I go into the supermarket, everything's on
sale.
I don't know what to buy. So I need to keep looking at a lot of things because I want to be sure, right? I look. Then I finally narrowed down to quite a few. But even just the narrowing down process takes a lot of time.
Yeah.
But this narrowing down process didn't happen for a lot of times last year, because last year the market was very green.
Yes.
Yeah, so not a lot of things were on sale. It was hard. It was easier to narrow down. Okay, but this month was so hard. I spent like the first 1 to 2 weeks just narrowing down. Then after that, suddenly two opportunities crop up and really stood out. Okay, and one drop about 15%, another one drop about 30%. So obviously I'm more inclined to go for the 30% one lah, right? So I spent a lot of time on that 30%, and I think I spent like 20 hours evaluating that 30% opportunity. But in the end, I eliminated it. So I usually eliminate very fast, but this month I took very long because, right, that company was really good. Everything is very good, but there are just two risks that I found. Number one is it is a turnaround play. Okay? And number two, the biggest risk I saw was the debt levels. And I sat on it for very long because I'm like, okay, but 30% down is a very big drop. The debt levels, how I think they can manage late. So I kept yo-yoing back and forth, and I just couldn't decide between both companies. In the end, right, I finalized one day. I'm like, you know what? I think the debt is really like too much. Cash is gonna be king if we go into a recession. In this climate where things are very uncertain, I think it's safer. Like Chloe, what would you choose? The 30% down but got very high debt or very, very high debt. Okay. Or you will choose the 15% down. They got debt that they can clear immediately because actually they have enough cash to clear off. Which one will you pick?
I will choose the one that has little debt because it gives me more peace of mind.
But here's the thing, here's the kicker. in terms of both company, right? One is a very, very strong player, it's almost a monopoly. The other one, the 30% one, right, has up and coming competitors that are very strong.
Mm,
So it's
mm,
hard to choose, right? So because of
mm,
this month, I actually spent, I think, close to 40 or even 50 hours analyzing. But on an average month, that doesn't happen. I think if I look at
yeah.
all the way, the entire of last year, on average, it's like only about like 20 hours on the
Mm,
actual stock itself, because I spent a lot of time eliminating, no, next, no, not good enough. Yeah, and I think that is actually where the bulk of time is spent, whereby you'll come across a lot of great ideas everywhere, but you should
mm,
be very aggressive in no, next, because you don't want to put into so many things also. Yeah, so if you're not into
wow.
individual stocks, ETFs don't even have that problem, lah, right? Your ETF, you don't
Yeah.
need to spend so much time at all. So it's just the two
Yeah.
different features.
Yeah, I think it's always like both sides, right? Like ETF, it's very hassle-free, but obviously the return is not going to be as much as individual stock picks, right? That you can see individual stock picks can like 3x, 5x, or even 10x, but within the same period, ETF maximum maybe a double, right? That's like the maximum that you can
Correct,
see, right?
correct.
So, but at the same time, I also like how you really spend time eliminating. Like you don't have baggage saying that, oh my gosh, I freaking spent like 20 hours, in this company. I should just buy it because I already like kind of have a lot of invested interest, right? But I really like how you detach yourself like from the effort and really just look at it very objectively. And I think at the end of the day, all this research that you've done now makes the elimination process even more sure, right? That you know that, hey, this is a company that I'm not going to take up. And it's very similar to how Charlie Munger invests, right? It's about inversion. He will say no to almost everything, and that's why whatever that thing that's left is true gems that he's willing to invest aggressively. And I think that's one of your approach, correct?
Yeah, correct.
Very fantastic. How many of you are learning something from Don? If you're learning, can you type learn in the chat? Now, I want to also ask about a little bit more about like your personal questions, right? Because you are a mom with two kids
Mm.
and I think back then you are still working full time. Right now, you probably take a more like a relaxed approach, right? Uh, how do you juggle all this? Like being a content creator, being a mom, being an investor, still does so well. How do you do all this? What are some of the challenges that you face?
I think I don't do as well as you all think I do lah. I always feel like I can do better. But I try my best. And like for instance, I have content creator friends who are full time, you included, right? And you all
Mm,
really invest a lot of time into your content, whereas I'm not as consistent. Yeah. So I think it's really just figuring out what you want to do and committing to the decisions that you make. So for me, I practice time blocking a lot. Yeah, so the time block then ensures that I get things done. And from time to time, I'll review all my commitments. So if I feel that one is getting too hard for me to manage, then I will look at either eliminating or scaling down. So that's actually what I did earlier this year, which I shared with you recently, right? Whereby
mm,
I was really killing it at my job, especially last year. Like I made my company so much money. And
mm,
then I realized but that really came at the expense of my own physical health, because I
mm,
was like, if you're in a 9 to 6, and some days it was even longer hours, right? There's very little time I have left after that to be a mom, and I still research and everything, and I still have this commitment to my Instagram, my community, and the stuff that I do there, and then my side hustles as well. And I realized like I really cannot. Yeah, like I can't. It's very hard for me to commit to a 5 times a week, 9 to 6. And
mm.
I'm very lucky because last year when the portfolio finally crossed 1M, I think it reached, then this becomes financial security, right? Because you're like,
Mm,
hey, actually, if at any point I just liquidate the entire portfolio now and I just throw it into dividend stocks, right? Let's say, and there are a lot of dividends
yeah,
companies now that are giving 6 to 7% because the
yeah,
market is so beaten down. Actually, I
yeah.
can already get like 60K a year minimum.
Mm,
I can live on 60K leh. I'm not very high expenses what, right? So that
yeah.
gives me the confidence to say like maybe I can step back from my job, because even though my job pays me well and I was doing
Mm,
very good, I was doing a lot and doing very well, I felt like my progress in my career is gonna look very different from my progress when I push my social media and everything else.
Mm.
Yeah, so I went to my boss and I said like, hey, can I discuss, how can I do a bit lesser? So we came to a very good arrangement, which of course included taking a pay cut, which I didn't mind, because the
Mm.
truth is when you look at that time and you put it into building other things, you can actually earn it back, right?
Yeah.
So yeah, time blocking is really important. So I think the biggest challenges I faced was really burnout. And I try to solve that by making sure I time block. And then I am not so harsh on myself. Like when things are going, like I really believe in outsourcing. Yeah.
Mm.
So the biggest thing that I've done this year, because even though I took a step back from my day job, right? I still have a lot of things. And this year I'm actually releasing my book. So writing
Mm.
that took a lot of time and liaising with my publisher is a lot of work as well. So I still didn't have as much time as I thought I would after I scaled that back on my day job. Okay, the time that was freed up actually went into creating more social media and working on my book.
Mm.
Right?
Mm.
And another business that I'm trying to scale up on. So in the end, I was like, hey, can I hire help? So I actually got my father-in-law, okay, and
Mm.
he's now a full-time grandpa. So we pay him his salary. He no longer goes back to work. My husband and I pay him his salary to go and send the kid, pick the kid, and help the kid with the spelling and things here. Yeah, and to me that is like amazing because financial, like, so what if you make a lot of money? It doesn't, and so what if I have $1 million, right? Like, what does it mean for the people around me, for my loved
Mm.
ones? Am I
That's true.
improving their lives? And I saw that my father-in-law doesn't really like to work.
Mm.
Some people are workaholics, but he is not, and
Mm.
to him, what really brings him joy is being with his grandchildren. And I
Oh,
think
you're
it's
getting him the best job on earth.
yes, and I'm so thankful that we're in a position to be able to do this for
Yes.
him. And I think that is actually the biggest reward that we got from this whole financial journey. Like seeing that smile on his face, that he is so happy with his new job. His job description basically just a full-time yeah. It's like
Yeah.
amazing. So time block and outsource. Okay, outsource your loved ones or to third parties, whatever, like get help. I think this would be the ways I would recommend for people to overcome and any challenges you face when you are a multi hyphenate or have your hands in many things like I am.
Yeah. And I think like just a very good recall back, like it's not an overnight success, right? It like Dawn did not build up like $1 million in just a short period of time. Like she actually really worked on improving her craft, right? Improving her research skill. And that's how all these add up to eventually giving her the ability right now to retire her father-in-law, to even retire herself, right? If she wants to retire, she literally can. Just that I think that when you hit $1 million portfolio, you also ask yourself, hey, like if I just don't work, what am I supposed to do? What am I going to do? Right? I think there will be no meaning or no additional joy in life. And that's why like Dawn and I are still doing what we are doing because we really enjoy what we are doing, like education, sharing about our own financial insights and all this. So it's a journey like can everybody type journey in the chat, right? So if you ever have the dream like what Dawn is living right now, like able to scale back on her work because she has the ability to do so, you can do that too. You just need to make sure you keep on going on this journey, right? Don't give up on your investment research process, and especially if you want to speed up a little bit more, then think about how you can improve your skill set, learning how to pick the right stocks, learning how to buy them at the right time, and most importantly, having that emotional mastery to hold on to it. Because
Mm.
then your multi-baggers will come, right?
Yeah.
So I think it's so wow, I learned so much from all your insights.
I think
I
we
want
all walk different journeys. Like I also want to be
yes,
like you, Lay Chloe. Your life very short, you like invest, then you go overseas and you travel so much and you're like living the life. I also want to go to like Canada and like just like disappear from Singapore for a few months. But we all walk our own journeys.
yes. I think everyone has our own path and we have our life circumstances are different, right? So for me, it's freedom. Wow, because I have no kids, right? But I always respect you so much because you are able to juggle so many things and still take very good care of your own portfolio, take very good care of your family. That's why I really respect you a lot. Thank you so
I
much
have
for
help. I
being
have
so
help.
inspiring for every one of us. How many of you feel inspired by Dawn? If you feel inspired, can you type I in the chat, right? So through all this little interviews and inspiration, we hope to give you the encouragement that you need to keep going. I think that's the most important thing. Now, I also want to ask maybe one more question before we wrap up as well. Like, I can see that you are also very passionate about empowering more females to step up in this journey. And a lot of your community members, in fact, are also female as well, right? So why are you particularly like passionate about empowering women to start?
I feel for the longest time, finance has been something restricted to the males. And it doesn't have to be that way, because there was this, I can't remember whether it was a book or article that I read when I was still learning, right, about investing, that said like Warren Buffett invests like a woman. And then actually that's
Mm,
why he is so successful. Okay. And I was like,
mm,
oh wow, that really opened up a new paradigm to me, because we keep thinking that males are better in the market. And I think actually today still a lot of women still feel that way. Like I speak with so many females who say like, oh, I'm really bad with numbers. Like I'm really bad with math. My husband's the one. I leave it to my husband to invest and take care of our money. And it is, I feel it's not right, because then some of these women, when they are in difficult relationships or marriages, right? Because they let their husbands or boyfriends or partner take care of everything financially related, they don't know how to exit that relationship, even though everything else is telling them you should go, because they're so
mm,
dependent on that person. I think that's dangerous. Like we should be with a partner who we genuinely love and is good for us. And if
mm.
something is becoming too toxic and harmful, like we're talking about people who are even being beaten up, or emotionally abused by their partner, or their partner cheated on them and they cannot forgive, but they just stay in debt because of they cannot survive on
Take
their
care of
own.
themselves financially, right?
Ah, correct. And I think like that's so sad. Like if women have been empowered to succeed at the workplace, why isn't the world, the financial institutions, empowering women to also be able to take control and manage their own finances? So I truly believe in helping females, but of course it's not just females, like it's everyone, right? It's just
Mm,
that I think the females need it more. And one thing I see that is very different from my male and female audiences, right, is that when the male comes to me with questions, okay, like I see Jia Hong here. Hi, Jia Hong. I think quite often at my events and webinars. And the questions that he asks, right, are very technical, very investment
mm,
driven. But the females who come and ask me, the question's very different. They're like, Dawn, I'm so scared to invest. I lost money. What should I do? But people like Jia Hong and the males don't really come with me with that kind of emotional questions. So it's
mm.
very different, right? And like, are there resources out there to teach and help these women with those questions? No. If you ask ChatGPT, like why did this stock drop, etc., they have all the answers for you. But if you ask ChatGPT, I'm like emotional questions, right? The answer a bit debatable. So
Mm.
I feel like women should also have the fair chance to be able to learn and acquire these skills for themselves. Yeah, which is why I also love, and I'm so glad that Chloe, we're doing this together, and we're launching something together very soon, because I truly believe that when people see us as role models, in fact, like for the longest time, every time people ask me like, is there another female investor like you in Singapore? I honestly don't really know how to answer, because I'm like, actually, a lot of them male leh. When I started my
Yeah,
blog,
a
I
lot of
was
them are
also
male.
one of the only females. So when I found you, I was so very surprised. Yeah, like, yay, there's finally someone. And the fact that you are also a millionaire investor and we started at the same time. You see, that's proof, because other people, they like to say like, Aya, Dawn, easy for you to say, you have made it, but not everyone can be like you. And now I can reply them and say, no, it's all in your mind. Because I actually
Yes.
know of Chloe who did a different approach, but also the same time. And the truth is that as long as you remain invested in the stock market for the long run, it is almost impossible for you to lose money. The fact that we both started, we didn't know each other, we didn't exchange tips. We walked our own journey and we got to the $1 million mark at almost the same time. That is proof to you that you just need to start. And I think like when people see just one successful people, they tend to be mind blocked, right? But when they see two successful women, I really hope that we can inspire to prove to more people that they can do it. The males are great. Like they're very hungry to acquire the skill, and I think they're very big champions of themselves, because Wall Street also had it's all male dominated. But for the females who are so emotional and need this kind of role models, I'm really glad that like we're doing it together.
Yeah, me too. And I also want to add on, like, I also felt like as a female, right? Sometimes, um, we might think that, like what Don said, we might think that, oh, we're not good at maths and whatsoever. But I also believe that as guys, like partners, like if you're dating a girlfriend or if you have a wife, don't you also agree that guys also actually want female to step up financially as well? How about the guys in the room? Do you wish your the other half actually step up? If you wish, right, can you type me in the chat, right? Because that will really help you to off burden a lot, right? Imagine right now you are not the only caregiver financially. You are not the only person who think about, oh, how do I plan my family? How do I plan for the future? Actually, right now, your partner can be with you side by side, discuss, brainstorm, and really build a great future together. And you both share the same vision of having financial freedom early. And instead of pulling each other down right now, you work hand in hand. I think it's so empowering. So that's why I think for Dawn and I, we are so passionate in terms of not just empowering women, but actually empowering as a couple, right? Like, how can you complement each other? So if you have a girlfriend, if you have a wife, if they haven't started investing, encourage them, right? Encourage them to join this process, because I think a lot of times female need more assurance. But if we have a strong community for them, that's when they also feel like, oh my gosh, yeah, if other females can do it, I can do it too. And actually, we females can be really good investors, right? Just like you guys are super good, we are complementing each other and really build a great future together. Yeah, no, yeah, exactly, right? So instead of like pull the opposite hair, now you come together because you have the same shared values and same shared vision, and that's how both of you will grow together faster. So yeah,
Correct.
so encourage them to follow Don, follow me, and through this process, we hope to inspire more female to join this movement together. All right, how many
And
of you will love that? If you love it, can you type "me too" in the chat? Yeah, Don, you were trying to share something.
yeah, to add on, right, to Marcus's point, if both partners actually understand investing, it's actually very powerful for the couple. Because let's say, Marcus, let's say for you and your wife, right? No, sorry, I'm not sure if you're married, I just assume. But let's say using a husband and the wife as an example. If the husband is the one who makes all the money in investing, okay, then the husband makes a mistake, or COVID or a black swan event happens and the husband ends up losing money, what does the wife do? Walao eh, why you lose the money? Our future. And then the husband also like, oh my God, right? It's not healthy. But
Yeah.
if wife is also savvy, and I met couples who like the wife understands but leave it to the husband. Okay, so like my friend, for example, is one of them. She really thinks the husband is better, but she kind of understands. So when it is down, she just asks her husband what happened. Her husband can explain to her, and she understands. She doesn't blame. There's no blaming. And even
Yeah.
like, it's okay, it will come up again, don't worry. That is so much healthier for the relationship
Yeah.
and for the investor. So I really believe both must understand how to
Yes.
and learn how to invest.
Yeah, exactly. So yeah, Marcus also agree, true, right? So encourage your partner, be the role model for them, and by you doing, being the role model, you will also end up lifting your partner together as well, right? Absolutely agree. All right. So how many of you learn a lot from Don sharing? If you learn a lot, can you type learn in the chat? Wow, it's almost like close to an hour. Thanks, Don, so much for all your generous sharing. Cindy, Marcus, Nicholas, a lot of you guys learned fantastic. Right. So right now, I just want to spend a little bit more time in terms of sharing, just like what Don said. Actually, we are actually launching something together, and we really want to, through our effort, joint effort together, empower and inspire more people to step up, especially women. So yeah, but doesn't matter whether you are a guy or female, right? Definitely throughout this entire process, you're definitely going to learn, and you never know the skill set that you're going to learn, right? You can impart it onto your partners as well. So is it okay? I share a little bit more about the program that Dawn and I are jointly launching together. If that's okay for you, can you type yes in the chat? Yeah, behind every man there is a woman, right? So support each other, come and learn together. If you can join this program together with your partner so that you can build the same vision, the same values together as well. Thank you so much, right? So what's going to happen is, right, for Dawn and I, we are actually launching this thing called 2PAI investing program. So 2PAI stands for two pillar. And in case you're still wondering what are the two pillars, the first pillar obviously is ETF. right? So just like what Don said, that is the stability, that is the foundation. However, for some of you probably already learned about ETF from me, this is where the add-on also comes in, because this is where Dawn, she's going to share with you how can you really learn how to pick multi-bagger stocks, just like what she has been doing over the past 10 years. So ETF as a foundation, like you just cannot go wrong. So you know that the foundation is very solid. And that's how after that, you also start to pick stocks that help you to accelerate the entire growth process. And that's why we call this a 2P AI growth investing, right? We focus a lot more on growth, how to pick the right growth stocks, value growth stocks. And in case you are still wondering why you want to learn from Dawn, because she has walked the talk, right? Over the past 10 years, she built her $1 million portfolio. Right now, literally, if she wants to retire, she can, right? She already have more than enough income from her portfolio to sustain all her lifestyle. So a lot of time when she go travel, her dividends pay for her passive income pay for her. And this is not an overnight success. And that's why she really want to share with you how step by step you can also do this so that in the next 5 years, 10 years down the road, you are able to enjoy the kind of life that she is enjoying today, right? Because it's all possible. And her students, right? Some of you, maybe you are already inside our community, you know that whatever things that she shared, you learn from her, you take action, you are seeing positive return, because whatever things that she shared, she really has already invested in it, and that's why she shared with you. So I really highly encourage you to take the leap of faith together with you, me, and Dawn, so that we can all grow this together, right? So at the same time, right, while so many people have been following her, that they make money because they take action, but there are also so many people who also reach out to us, right? That you guys invested before, but you just didn't seem to have the kind of result that you are expecting. So back then, when I was doing this survey, I asked my community here, so many of you replied, and I was really shocked as well, because 100 plus responses, 90% of people who replied all said that you've been investing, but you are not making money. And I think it's very sad, because at the end of the day, why do we want to invest? It's because we want to have financial freedom earlier, right? We want to make money so that we can take good care of our family. But the reality is often the opposite, because when you don't have the right skill set and when you don't have the right mindset, that's how everything screw up. And that is why we don't want this to happen again. And we want to make sure we equip you with the right skill set and the mindset for you to really start investing profitably, right? Because exactly what happened back then, I also lost money. Just like so many of you who contributed to the response, I was once a very lousy student who anyhow dabbled in the stock market, and I lost so much. The amount of money wasn't just mine, it was my parents as well, right? So that was when I really get to realize how dangerous it is to dabble into the stock market without really knowing what I'm doing. And I felt so ashamed. Like even until today, I actually didn't dare to tell my parents how much money that I actually lost. I actually used my savings and use the savings and give it back to them, right? Because I never have the guts to tell them that I lost 50 over $1,000 of their money. And even to today, I just wish that, if I can turn back time, I would never want to make the same mistakes. I did not want to rely on, people's recommendation. I do not want to rely on, people's stock tips anymore. I want to really learn how to do the right way. And over time, I found my strategy, which is through ETF investing, right? And it has served me well. But if I can really learn the right way of stock pickings, I think the millions can be accelerated way faster. And that is why for Dawn and I, our mission is to really help you to build a long-lasting portfolio that can serve you and really help you to continue to grow peacefully, right? Knowing that you are doing the right thing, right? So that's why this 2PAI growth investing program is what we want to help you step by step. But just to let you know, this is only for you if you have been spending so much time, right, doing research, analyzing individual stocks, but you still get it wrong, right? And at the same time, it's also for you have been struggling to buy a lot of companies, but somehow you just don't get the consistent return despite years of holding on to them. Or maybe you cut loss too early. It's also possible, right? Or if you just don't want to lose money anymore and you want to follow a proper system to learn from Dawn how she does it, right? And how you can actually use all these skill sets that she's going to teach you to start building the right portfolio for your individual stock picks. And then this program is for you. Now, When is it happening? It's happening 5th to 6th of April. So it's a 2-day live virtual bootcamp like this. We are going to be conducting on Zoom. You can ask questions. We will be able to answer all your questions step by step so that we can guide you properly. So can everybody type 2-day in the chat, right? So in the 2-day, 9 a.m. all the way to 5 p.m. Dedicate that weekend together with us because this is where we get a lot of hands-on. So now, firstly, what are you going to learn during these 2 days? There will be different mastery level. The first mastery is obviously the foundation, right? So we will quickly go through ETF investing so that you know how you can build up an ETF portfolio. And for myself, I've been building ETF portfolio that grow about 15 to 20% per year. It's very doable. And you just want to make sure you learn how to do it. Then we will move on to Dawn's segment where she's going to share with you how can you pick winning stocks. Just like what Dawn has been doing, right? 100 over percent, 200, 300% to even 1,000%, right? These are the formulas that she used. She's going to teach you step by step how you can do that. And just like her student as well, right? Why is it that her student is able to do it? The same formula she's going to share with you step by step. And mastery number 3 is apart from buying great companies, you want to learn how to buy them at a great price, right? And that's how she's able to make money from Alibaba while many people actually lose money from Alibaba because you know when is the right time to buy, right? So she's also going to teach you how to calculate the right value, the right intrinsic value, so that you know when to buy your stocks and when to potentially consider selling your stocks as well. Right? So some of her students, after they learn from her, she said, like for example, Cynthia, she said that it's not just theory, it's really about application, right? Taking action together. And she really liked how Dawn simplified every single thing and make everything so relatable and easy to understand for her to take action, right? So now, number 4, remember Dawn said that right now, why she's able to cut short the research process faster is also because using AI. So she's going to share with you the AI tools that she personally have been using so that you can also get started the entire process much faster. And AI can help you to do a lot of heavy lifting for you so that you can spend less time at the same time actually get way more insights because AI is able to help you to amplify the research much better as well, right? And not to forget, during that 2 days is live. So we are actually going to analyze different stocks together. We are going to analyze the market together as well. So when there are opportunities, we will definitely share with you so that you can potentially actually take action even within that 2 days bootcamp, right? So all in all, right, what Dawn she's going to share with you is value growth investing. If you go to Columbia Business School, which is the school that Warren Buffett, he himself went, right? Right now, the cost is about close to 8,000 US dollar, right? Just to go there, it's a 3-day in-person program. Not to mention you need to fly there, you need to take accommodation. So easily it's over $10,000. But right now, right, what you're going to learn from both of us, right? Actually, Dawn, she's going to teach you the entire research process of value growth investing. So the value of it is easily way more than $7,000. And if you join some of the local programs in Singapore, it's actually also easily a few $1,000s as well, right? So if you ask me, the value of this entire program is easily $7,950 because you are going to learn the exact skill set that Dawn has been using for the past 10 years to grow into $1 million portfolio. How many of you can see the value, right? You can see the value, right? Like you invest one time, but you get the skill set to make millions after that. I absolutely see it's definitely valuable for that. Now, but I want to ask, if today, right, it's almost free, who would like to acquire this skill set of learning how to pick the right stock, how to buy at a great price, and have the emotion stability to hold them for long term so that you can have multi-baggers return? Then your millions and your passive income will be able to compound. How many of you will love that? If you love that, right, can you type me in the chat? You are committed to learn. If it's almost free, how many of you are committed to learn? Nancy, great, fantastic. Anyone else apart from Nancy? I have already signed up. Thank you so much, Olivia. We are super excited to see you. Now, I want to share with you why is it that it's almost free. And for those who are committed, this is something that we are going to give you today as a bonus. Bonus number 1. We are going to give you my own top 5 ETF watch list. And these top 5 ETF watch lists are something that I'm personally invested in already. So whatever things I want to share with you, I want to make sure it's safe. It's something that I personally put a lot of money inside so that you also have the confidence to start investing as well, right? Give you the benchmark for you to get started. And these few ETFs are basically very safe, very steady. And a lot of my students, when they started just buying some of the ETFs I shared inside the watch list, these are the return like plus 6% within a short period of time, right? So this is bonus number 1, right? So for those who want to use this to build out the foundation. And itself, I think it's easily worth $177 because you can make multiple times of 177 for sure, right? So the value is easily right now over $8,000. But on top of that, right, we are also going to give you bonus number 2. So what is bonus 2? It's from Dawn herself. So she's going to share with you the top 5 stocks to keep buying. Okay, what does that mean is she has them in her portfolio, but at the same time, she will keep on buying this company because they're fundamentally sound and they can withstand the test of time, right? So that's why, right, if you can borrow her 10 years of wisdom, I think this stock list basically condense all her 10 years of experience and share with you and the top 5 companies that she personally will keep buying for the next 5 years and 10 years down the road, right? So how many of you find that it's pretty useful? Okay, if you think it's useful, can you type U in the chat? Okay, U stands for useful, right? So if you ask me how much is the value of this, I think easily, okay, I put $370 is like, it's unjustifying, right? Because if you keep buying and it's a good company, how can you not make more than 370, right? Easily more than that. So right now, the total value is already $8,000 now. But today, right, for those who have already joined us, you know that we are actually giving a huge rebate. And that rebate, it's in the form of scholarship because we want to make sure when it comes to investing, you have the money to invest, right? It doesn't make sense if you invest $8,000 and you don't have any much money to invest, then you can't really grow. And that's why what we want is we give you a huge discount. And through the discount, you use the money to fund your account so that you can really start investing together with us during that 2 days itself, right? So what's going to happen is, right, everything that you're going to get, including the 2 bonuses I'm sharing with you, the value is easily $8,000. But today, it's not $8,000. Instead, you just need to remove a number from this. So if you can remove a number, which number would you remove? Which number would you remove? Exactly, right? You want to remove the 8, right? So it will only be 497 USD and you have $8,000 of savings. You can easily use the 8K to fund your investment account and then we can start investing. If you don't want to fund your 8K, you can also fund whichever amount that you're comfortable with. But basically that savings is yours. You can decide what you want to do with it. But we highly encourage you to fund some money so that we can start investing during that 2 days. Because just like what Don said, paper money is very different from real money. You want to really start the entire process with us so that you have the confidence to really keep going, right? So everything, like I said, right, it's $497. But on top of that today, we are also giving away the first 17 action taker bonus. So what is this first 17 action taker? Now, for those who are based in Singapore, you know that for Dawn and I, we also invest our CPF and SRS. And do you know that actually you can also use CPF and SRS and invest it in a way that is way better than what is your current OA is giving you. So your OA is probably giving you like 2.5% per year. But for the past 3 years, when I invest my money, right, through CPF and SRS, this is the return that I'm getting, right? 30% in 3 years' time. How did I manage to do that? I'm going to share with you how you can do that too, because exactly how I automate the entire process, it's automation. I just need to do it one time. And then subsequently, every single month, I will keep on recurring. And my students, for example, Gina, she has already made $3,000 by automating her CPF. And right now, I'm going to share with you how you can do that too, as a bonus when you sign up tonight. Right? So that's why every single thing, right? First 17 action taker, then you will also have this bonus training. All in all, the value is easily $8,000. But today, it's not, right? You just need to remove the 8 and the total investment is only 497 US dollar. I really feel it's so valuable, because how can you not make $497 if you actually take action step by step following the method that we both are going to teach you during that 2 days program, right? So that's why if you are someone who really want to learn how to stop picks better and learn how to actually use your individual portfolio to grow faster, at the same time using ETF as a foundation and CPF and all these add up together, then make sure, right, use your mobile phone, scan this QR code. And right now, I'm also going to put the link, the sign up link inside the comment. And yeah, for those who have additional questions, feel free to ask us, because Don and I are here to assist you to get started as well. So every single thing, like I said, all the bonuses is only $497, right? So right now it's time for Q&A. Feel free to ask us any questions you have. And meanwhile, okay, so will there be recording available? Yes. All right, Denise, there will be recording available, and we will send you the recording and you can use it to watch it again and again for the rest of your life, right? Basically, you can download the recording to your computer and can watch it as many times as you want. All right, so you sign up during the challenge earlier. Do you know? Yes. Okay, Jia Hong, because you already signed up, you are one of our first 17. So you definitely get this bonus CPF training as well as part of the bonus. So congratulations. Any other dates? Okay, so for now, we do not have any other dates yet, because it's the first time we are launching it. We want to see what our students' feedback so that we can improve on it. However, if you sign up right now, firstly, you're going to lock in all the bonuses, like what I shared with you just now, like all this. We are going to lock in all the bonuses. And on top of that, if you really cannot make it during the 2 days, which is in April, then in the future, when we launch this again, we will give you a complimentary receipt for our future bootcamp, which is very likely to be like the later half of the year, because Dawn and I are also very busy. We want to make sure we segregate our time properly as well. But we will definitely give you a complimentary receipt if you really cannot make it for the 2 days. But nevertheless, if you use this like right now, log in, you will get every single thing and a complimentary receipt if you can't join for the April bootcamp. All right. So how about for those who are inside the program already? Derek program, fantastic. Then you will get the bonuses, like I mentioned. If you already joined the 2PAI, then you will get every single thing that I just shared. All right. So now let me just make sure I put this link inside the sign up here. Okay, now over here. Okay, so if you have any questions, continue to ask in the chat. And in the meanwhile, let me just share screen on when you open up the sign up page. How does it look like? And Dawn, if you have any questions you want to answer, just feel free to let me know. Now, firstly, all right, once you come into this page, okay, let me just close this. Okay, so over here, you will get to find out a little bit more about like the program, right? So if you have any additional things like what is included, the 2-day coaching, as well as the blueprint that I'm going to share with you, how for beat ETF, high growth stock selections, right? So every single thing here that you will be able to see is what you are going to get, right? So if you want to sign up, right, this is where you can actually fill up your email, the details, and then choose your preferred payment method. If you want to have one-time investment, it's $497. If you want to spread into 3 times, then it's $197 each month. So this one will definitely give you more savings in advance, right? Then after that, you just need to input your credit card detail and enroll. You will be getting a welcome email. If you're the first 17, then I will also let you know via the welcome email as well. Okay, so let me see any more questions. Okay, so Olivia have already signed up. Yes, so if you have already signed up, great. You will be entitled to every single bonuses that I shared here just now. All right, fantastic. Okay, so let me see whether any other questions. Oh, okay. So Eileen, same as the other student just now asking about the other date. So like I said, right, if you sign up now, you're locking all the bonuses, and because you can't make it due to the clash with Qingming, we will be able to give you a complimentary receipt later on during like second half of the year when we relaunch this bootcamp again, right? But nevertheless, right, you will have the recording. We will give you the recording so that you can start watching already. You don't have to wait until all the way to the second half of the year. You can start watching, start learning, and yeah, and start applying as well. Okay. All right. So in the meantime, looking at welcome email, but I don't see that. Well, okay. So Jia Hong, if you don't see the SRS investment bonus, don't worry, okay? I will send out another email because we are still trying to confirm the first. In fact, at first was first 20, right? Right now, a few spots have been taken, so right now I reduced to first 17, right? But let me just confirm everything. But I'm pretty sure that you're definitely the first 20. So yeah, so we will send out another email, right? So meantime, let me see how many of you have already. Okay, so I can see that some of you have also signed up. Yvonne, and then I can also see that Cindy, okay, Valerie as well, okay, and Regina, thank you. Okay, you guys are the first 17 as well. Okay, so I think I shall not read out everything. If you want me to check, then I will be able to check for you. Okay, any questions for Dawn and I? So Dawn, do you want to share a little bit more about what you will be actually going through during the 2-day training?
Yeah, sure. I think for most important, like if y'all are very overwhelmed by what you have heard from us today, one thing I really hope y'all take away from tonight's session is to learn the skills and the art of managing your own emotions as an investor yourself. And in your course, in your own journey, we all walk different journeys, okay? And I truly believe that as long as we start building now, all of us can definitely hit the 1 million mark. Some might take faster, some might take longer, but you will definitely get there. Important thing is, are you building? Because you never build, then of course you will never get there, lah, right? And one thing I really want to encourage a lot of you is that, a lot of times it may feel very daunting. And if you rely on, fake gurus, social media influencers and stuff to give you stock tips, or your friends even to give you stock tips, I hope you all understand that whether you make money, it's none of their concern. Whether you lose money, it's also not their fault. And just like how I personally experienced it myself, I lost money on the SingPost thing, but I couldn't even blame my broker. It's not like I could sue him or file a complaint to his employer against him. It was all on me. And that sucked. That feeling of inadequacy upon realizing that I made a mistake by just trusting and relying on him really was a wake-up call. And today, I actually, fun fact, right? I never sold my SingPost. And I
Oh,
think what I would do is I would keep it in my account, my CDB account forever, because every single time I open my account and I see that, right, I get reminded of this mistake. And I get reminded of the fact that the professional do not necessarily know better, and that mistake I made in relying on someone else other than myself. Okay. Anyway, remember back then I only earned like 2K a month. So my investment in Singapore back then wasn't a huge amount. So the drop, 70% loss is like nothing. I mean, even there's so little left in there that even if I were to cut loss now and I put it into another stock, like that amount is so little, like forget it lah. Okay, so I keep it there as a painful reminder to myself because I don't want myself to ever get complacent. I want to remember to keep learning, to keep being open. I want to encourage you guys because if you all remember the slide that Chloe shared with you, when I invested in Baba, when I invested in Meta, when I invested in Shopify, and a lot of these stocks, Palantir even, right? A lot of people were very negative about it. If you didn't see the social media stuff, great for you. But I think if you all pull out, for example, any of the YouTubers, you type Palantir, you pull out the older videos, you look at the comments, you will see they're very, very damaging. And some
yes.
people are just so mean and harsh about it. And they're like, Palantir is a sucky company. Cannot be. I got to the point where I stopped reading comments already because I realized like actually it doesn't do me any good. And a lot of time, these people opinion, right? It's really just their opinion. Some of them are very uninformed. I give another example, and I think I see Jia Hong here who can be my witness, because when I actually shared about Zoom back then, and how I saw the potential, I calculated and I felt it was undervalued, and I talked to it to some of my friends, even my investor friends. A lot of them gave me very different opinions. Okay, there were many people who said that they didn't believe in Zoom because if you all know the COVID dropped by a lot. Zoom went up, okay, and then it dropped sharply after the whole COVID thing disappeared. So a lot of people were not convinced about Zoom. And at that point in time, Microsoft was very aggressive about Teams, right? So a lot of government agencies got off Zoom because of security concerns. They were moving to other platforms, and Zoom share price dropped by a lot. But I went in, I calculated, I did my research, I went and asked people, I look at online forums, and I realized that Zoom got oversold. Like it went down to the point whereby it's undervalued already. Okay. And a lot of people did not like agree with me. Okay, even Jia Hong asked really good questions at that point in time also, which I felt were the best questions I got on Zoom, by the way. And he was from a bear thesis. Like he didn't believe in Zoom. And I really love those questions he asked because it made me look deeper into it and it reaffirmed my conviction that I really think Zoom is can one. Okay. But if I had listened to all the other third parties at any point when I was investing in Palantir, Baba, Zoom, or any of the stock, I would have never made the moves that I did. Even in 2023, if you guys look at my blog, I wrote about how 2023 was actually a really good time to buy the STI index. And a lot of people disagreed. They were saying like, hey, Singapore stock market dead lah. Okay. Well, look at the STI index now. It's all-time high. If you had actually ignored all those and went in when I said, and I thought that it was a good time. And I spot, but you can also spot, you guys can get the skills to spot this for yourself. You will be the one making the money and not your critics or all these third-party noises. Or like China, for example. When I said I was buying all the China stocks, everyone, even the hedge funds and my investor friends who were working full-time hedge fund analysts or fund managers, right? They were all saying, oh, no, China better don't touch lah, Dawn. China is uninvestable.
Yeah, I
Well,
heard that.
yeah, look at where China is now. Look at how Tencent has doubled, tripled, Alibaba also same doubled. And now look at, go and Google now Alibaba and the coverage. And you see that the hedge funds who used to be so anti-China are going back into Alibaba. Like, does that even make sense? Like now is the time where you're like, you don't touch ma. Because now it's starting to be fairly or even overvalued. Right? But when it was undervalued and everyone was fleeing the market because they were scared, are you going to let them influence your point of view so they don't make the money? And then if you don't make the money, who are you going to be beating up? Yourself or them? So I hope you guys really remember in life it is super important about acquiring the skills. And I think Chloe and I, we're very similar in the sense that we have also done courses of our own. And we had a very good session when we came together to want to build this, right? We said that a lot of the current courses out there are just so inaccessible for the average investor. You spend like 5 digits. You pay 5 digits to learn how to invest. You have almost no capital or very little capital left to actually invest and get your results. And we didn't want to do that. Okay, so we decided that let's teach people at a more affordable price tag. And that's when we came up with the scholarship idea, because if so many of people are already prepared to pay so much for a course, what if we could take a lot of that out and make you promise yourself, okay, we'll give you that amount off, but you must promise us that you take your savings and invest for yourself. Because at the end of the day, if you attend the course and you don't build right, then no point. Okay, we made the cost a lot more affordable, because actually if you all think about it, this fee, right, divided by 2 of us, it is so money. If we did this just for the money, we would never charge at this price. Yeah, I would tell Chloe we need to charge much higher. We're literally taking out 2 full days of our time leh, but we really wanted to help empower more people. Whether it is you guys or like Marcus, if you want to get your wife to learn so that she won't let you, or any husband who want your partner to learn so that they won't blame you for investing losses, get them to come and learn, because this skill set you will learn will actually follow you for the rest of your life. And that is the most important thing. Okay, so remember, don't rely on other people. Don't rely just because someone else online said, Palantir's a good stock, it's gonna go up 10x, and that video has like 1 million views. It doesn't mean anything. Because if Palantir doesn't go in 10x at the price that you got it in, can you blame that person? You can't, because you're the one who clicked the buy button. Okay, so the more important thing is you need to learn how to assess for yourself. And what I'll be teaching is basically how I analyze, how I use AI tools to shortcut my time spent, and how you can actually look at things to understand whether or not it is undervalued or overvalued. So that's what I'll be sharing during the class.
Exactly. I felt like it's so important to be independent, right? Because Dawn has been generously sharing a lot of her insights on social media as well. But sometimes if you don't really know yourself, you will doubt, right? Because she can be sharing with so much conviction, but you can never truly have a conviction unless you understand, right? So how do you build your understanding? It's really by you learning how to analyze. So next time, if she ever give additional insights, you can quickly go and double check, say, hey, is it something that I personally also agree because I go through the thought process that she's going to teach you during a 2 days class? Then you are really equipped this time to really seize the opportunity together with her. And instead of being afraid, being swayed by all those naysayers, you are ready, right? Or maybe you disagree, then you don't invest, right? At least you know exactly what to do and what not to do. And I think that it's very, very, very like empowering. And then just like what Don said, right? If you have a partner and if you know that you yourself are already pretty good, then invest this program for your partner. I still remember one of my good friend, right? His name is Hardy. He said that his wife bought him the best present on earth, and that is actually an investing program, because ever since then he get interested into investing, right? Back then he didn't believe about like doing investment himself, right? So because of that program, he changed his view towards investing. Then he started doing his own investment portfolio, and right now he hit his 7-figure as well. So that program itself literally changed his life, and that's why he said, wow, that is the best gift ever he has ever received from his wife. So this could be the reverse as well, right? If you are someone is happy investing but your partner doesn't invest, can this be a gift for them, right? And if you already bought for them, they will have no choice but to come for the course and be really, maybe at first their attitude was like, why you need to spend money on this? But eventually, because after these 2 days, they will change their perspective towards investing. They become more supportive in the entire journey with you. And you guys can right now do this together. How beautiful is that? Right? Just to answer some of the question, because you guys PM me whether you are the first 17. Yes, Lily, you are. Congratulations. And then at the same time, MT as well. MT, you are also one of the first 17. Congratulations. All right. And then one more person, it's David. David also. Okay. Congratulations. Yep. All right. So any more questions from other people?
Just to give you guys context, right? If I could also add. So imagine, let's say today you're starting with $1,000 because you're scared. Okay, let's say, actually, I know of a lot of people who have 10,000, 100K to invest. Then they anyhow go and throw into things that they don't even understand. So let's go very, very small. Okay, let's just go with, say, $1,000 to invest. Okay, let's say with this triangle and I'm actually really excited because Chloe, I really believe that this triangle will help a lot of people.
Yes, I think so too. Oh my gosh.
Literally what I've been telling a lot of people about, it's just that I never go and teach the ETF portion. So I'm really glad. I don't have the ETF result, right? Like people look at me and like, yeah, Dawn, you make your millions from stock investing, like individual stock. Yeah, stock pick. Then I teach ETF, they don't believe me. So I really, really love that you who have made your millions using ETF, like you're coming and we're really proving to people it can work. Okay, so if you look at the triangle and your bottom, okay, let's say you use your $1,000, you divide and you go into, let's say, just 3 or 5 stocks that are just $100 each, and then you spend 500 on ETFs. Okay, and you have seen from Chloe's results, your ETFs, you can actually bump it to like 20% a year if you do it right. 20% a year. And then your stock, let's say, let's just be very conservative. Let's say the stock just does 30 to 40% in a year and there is no multi-bagger. In that first year alone, you're already up by so much. Okay, let's say it averages out, you're up by say 30% already. Okay, now this 30%, the next year continues to compound. Okay, it grows even more. Okay, and now because you're more confident, you put in more money into the ones that you know are working. Okay, and then now your exposure also increase. Now say the third year something unexpected happens and the market crashes. Okay, but you only go down because you have such a big component of ETFs, right? Your individual stocks might be very volatile, but your ETF might not be. Or it could be that certain ETFs are down, but others are not. And certain stocks are down, but your stocks are not. So as you go there, third year, maybe you're down by say 10 to 15%. Okay. Then fourth year, what happens? Usually after a down, huge recovery. Okay. Now you're at what? 50, 60%. Or in that down year, because you have more income coming in and you now have the skills, you now use the money to go and find and get more of that undervalued stock, like Meta or other great stocks that have gone on sale. Now what happens in the fourth year when the market recovers, your multi-baggers start to come. Your 2x, 3x. Because that's what happened in Palantir. Guys, I didn't buy Palantir at just $7. I started buying Palantir at $22, okay? So on Palantir itself, right, when it dropped all the way down to like $6 or $5 plus at the very bottom, I was actually sitting on a paper loss of more than 10K US, $10,000. For me to ignore that and look at the numbers again, and I'm like, I'm gonna put in more money, buy more. Because I averaged down, so everything pushed down the price, right? That's why I managed to make more than 10x my gains. If I had just, scared, don't wanna. You realize my max gain of Palantir is only 4x or less than 4x now, because Palantir dropped a bit, right? Less than 4x there. But because I did what I did, I got it to 10x. Can you see the power of that? So imagine that happening on year 4. And then year 5, you repeat. Okay? Can you see this is exactly how your riches are going to be made? This is exactly how you get to the $1 million mark. Because Chloe and I went through all that losses. Chloe lost so much. I lost 7,000 and I thought it was the end of the world. And it turned out that it wasn't at all. And all these weaknesses and these failures reinforce our belief that we can only trust ourselves and our numbers. But what we need to do is go and acquire the skills. So we both went to acquire the skills. The problem we found was that we spent a lot of money acquiring the skills. Chloe, how much did you spend acquiring the skills? I think for me, I would say I spent at least 20K minimum on courses and lessons, both in Singapore and overseas.
Easily 5 figures, correct.
5 figures, right? Yeah, mine is about 50K. The 20K, because I remember there was one US guy I actually I went for his course, and his course was very expensive. And I was very tempted to do like the live one with him, which would have been 30K. But then I couldn't justify spending 30K lah. Like I think never mind. I don't think I need to know his method. So yeah, in the end, like I think easily I had spent at least 20K to acquire the skills. But that was in an era also when there was no such person like Babe or Arigato Insiders to teach this, and not at this kind of pricing. Like literally, the amount we paid was because there were no better options. Today, I think the market is so much better because like we genuinely love doing this, and we've seen the impact. And the good thing about us is Chloe and I, because we already have the million, right? So we don't have to use this to push and earn a lot of money. What matters to us more is the impact, because I don't know about you guys, but for me, my biggest reward comes when I actually receive emails and messages from my students, such as the one that Chloe shared, right? Thanks, Dawn, I made like 30%, or I climbed out of debt, or I actually, and a lot of my students say this, they reversed their investment portfolio, which was in the red. Even though it was being managed by someone, like their insurance agent or their friend, they advise, okay? They reverse it from the red to the green. And that to me is the biggest, most rewarding message and reward that I can get. It doesn't matter that we're not earning like the 5 digits that other course providers are doing, because we don't need it. I mean, if we are poor, then okay lah, right? Chloe, I think if we are poor, we company need to charge very high. We cannot do this for such a low price. But today, I think because we are both like, we really want to show you guys that this triangle method, it works. Yeah, and I very sad, Chloe, that you're going off to Canada, because I want to run this again. Like after this round, I want to make sure that we do it well, we get feedback from you guys. And then we run it again. But then this girl, she's going off to Canada for like so long. So I think the next time we ever get to run this, maybe it's like realistically next year already. So don't miss this, guys. Like come for this. Even if you can't make it for the date, you get the replay. And hopefully when Chloe comes back, or if I can convince her to come back even earlier in Singapore and grab her for 2 days, then we can rerun this in Q4. But if not, then I think the earliest is next year. But if you miss the live one, you will definitely get a ticket to the next live one that we come for. Yeah, so send it to your friends, send it to your spouse, anyone, especially if you have any females in your life where they really doubt themselves. And they think that females cannot succeed in investing lah. And then show them our story, that these are two individuals who did not know each other, walked different journeys, but got to the 1 million mark. And what they're teaching is a very strong fundamental, which is your fundamental base with ETFs, where you can hardly go wrong. Okay, and then on top of that, layer on your skills to find multi-bagger stocks, because all you need is not even the next NVIDIA. NVIDIA is crazy, right? You don't even need the next Palantir or NVIDIA. You just need like your 2x, 3x, 5x, 10x. And if you're in the market long enough, you can find and spot those companies. You'll be very surprised. 2 to 3x is actually pretty common. The problem is a lot of people don't have the skills to catch them. So they always think it's not possible, but it is possible. Look at Alibaba. You all know Alibaba, right? Look at Meta. We all know Meta. But how many people got multi-bagger gains from Meta? Because they learn skill. Yeah, acquire the skills, and you will definitely be able to do that.
Yeah, acquire the skill set and learn from Dawn step by step how she analyzed individual stocks. Some of you will ask, oh, how do you pick multi-baggers, right? So this is exactly what she will be teaching you step by step during the 2 day, right? How to pick the multi-bagger stocks, what kind of criteria she goes through, right? So that she's able to pick it consistently again and again. And at the same time, what are the price to buy? How to calculate that intrinsic value? She's also going to teach you so that you can buy them at a good price rather than buy them super overvalued, then only see your stock price tumble, right? You don't want to see that, right? You want to make sure you buy at a good price. And then even if the stock price tumble, you know that, hey, you're already buying at the margin of safety. You want to add in even more, right? Then when the stock price rebound, that's how you actually make even more profits. That's what happened to her Palantir, what happened to her Meta, right? And she's going to teach you how you can do that too for yourself, right? So any more additional questions before we wrap up, right? Let me see, double check, double check. If not, I think we are more or less covered every single thing. It's already like, wow, like 9:30. Okay, thank you so much, Cindy. Yes, you guys, yeah, Cindy has already signed up as well. We'll see you on 5 and 6 of April. It will be via Zoom, so we'll be sending you the Zoom link once again, including the bonus. All right, so yeah, looking forward to seeing all of you guys. For those who have already signed up, looking forward to seeing you guys actually next weekend. It's happening so fast, right? Yes. It's the top 20 slots filled, right? If you sign up right now, we still have a few more spots left. So Udi, highly encourage you to do so. Give yourself the chance, come and learn and really take action together. Build the right skill set, the right mindset, the right valuation method so that you have the capability to do it for yourself, right? Because we have seen that again and again happening, not just to Dawn, not just to me, but to a lot of people that we have coached over the years. So we hope to give you that booster that you need to start your journey properly with the right foundation, the right triangle, right? So Woody, be the first 20. You just need to sign up now. You will be the first 20 as well. Okay. So any more additional questions? Let me make sure we clear off everything before we wrap up. And hold on. Dun, dun, dun. Okay. Yeah. So yeah, I think that's all. I think we have cleared off every single thing and looking forward to seeing every single one of you. And thank you so much, Dawn, for taking up your time to be here. I know you are a busy mom. You must be going to get your kids to go to bed soon. So thanks
I'm
so
gonna
much
put
for
them to
spending
bed
the
now.
time.
Yeah,
Huh?
but thanks. I'm gonna put them to bed after this. But thanks for
Yes,
having
I
me,
know.
guys. It was lovely sharing my story with you guys, and I really hope that you come for the class. Please send it to all your female friends or your female partners who need to be inspired and show them it really is possible. Because here are two Singaporean ladies who have done it separately. And they're going to be teaching. And actually, I myself am actually really excited because I roughly know Chloe's method, but I have to say this first, I don't know the exact execution because again, I never really do ECS. Remember, my only ECS is like my SRS because the money is so small that I don't want to think about it and don't want to manage. I just throw into a easy ETFs. Okay, but I am very amazed myself that Chloe actually got to the same 1M point using ETFs, and I have roughly heard her summary of her approach. But I am very excited to also learn with you guys on that day as I learned how Chloe did it. And then for Chloe also, she's been asking me a lot of questions about how I do it. So I also said like I will teach it on this day. So she's also going to be learning from me. So as much as you guys are learning from us on the workshop,
Yeah, learning from each
learning
other.
from each other, yes. And I'm really excited. I actually
Exactly.
think, Chloe, I'm quite confident that after this workshop together, right, we will both hit our 2M in a shorter period of time than it took us
I
to hit.
agree.
Yeah, I'm very
I
excited.
agree.
I'm so excited to see when that will happen. We must tell each other when we both hit 2M, okay? But my theory is we will definitely be even faster because we are combining now not just our own skills but also each other's skills.
Exactly. And we hope to also get you to hit your $1 million portfolio faster as well. Speed out your journey. Every single cent that you're going to invest in this is really, really well spent because you're going to take part and take action in it. You're going to make multiple times more, right? So don't just limit yourself to that few $100, but really expand yourself into the future of a few $100,000 to even a few million. It's totally doable. You just need to make sure you keep going in this journey. All right, so awesome. Thank you so much, Nancy. We will see you in the boot camp. And thank you so much, Dawn, once again for sharing generously with all your insights and experience. And can't wait to see you next weekend as well.
Yes,
Thank
excited.
you.
Bye,
Have a
guys.
great night, everybody. Thank you. See you, Jiao. Thank you. See you guys.